If you have a fucking problem with me, take it up with me. Let's fucking go.
In 2014, when CM Punk left the WWE, nobody thought he would come back, even himself. But on August 20th, 2021, Punk finally returned, but not with WWE, but with AEW. AEW was a new promotion in town, and they just signed their biggest star. CM Punk's time in AEW was rocky to say the least, but let's take a look back. On AEW's first Rampage, the show would start with fans chanting for CM Punk. Then he finally returned after 7 long years. This was on the same level as LeBron James coming back home to Cleveland and Big Time Rush coming back. Hey, I was getting down to the concert. Y'all don't know about BTR. Y'all don't know about Worldwide, Windows Down, and Boyfriend. But on God, the saddest episode is when Joe left, bro. I watched that shit recently and I was honestly crying. I'm really a 21-year-old man talking about Big Time Rush. Alright, but anywho, a fan would be crying, and that's what CM Punk really meant to professional wrestling. Just look at all the people who looked up to him. But Punk would cut a promo saying that he's got the time and that if any of my personal choices made you let down, I understand. But saying WWE made him sick and that he had to leave. Punk would tell a story about leaving Ring of Honor, saying that he left professional wrestling. Then CM Punk called out Darby Allin and challenged him to a match at All Out. But why is Darby Allin all the way up there? On God, he's chilling. But that would end the promo. I remember the next day I woke up hella early and I bought the CM Punk AEW shirt. On August 25th, CM Punk would make his Dynamite debut. Punk said he came back for the younger talent and questions himself if he can still go. He would say Darby had heart and he wants to prove himself right. On September 1st on Dynamite, Daniel Garcia would attack Punk. Then Darby Allin and Sting would come out to help Punk. Darby and Punk would be face to face. Then Sting would say he's staying neutral and it's going to be showtime to end the promo. On September 3rd on Rampage, Darby would face Daniel Garcia and Darby would win. 2.0 would attack Darby and Sting, then Punk would come help them. Then Punk and Darby would be face to face to end the show. On September 5th at All Out, Darby and Punk would have an okay match, but Punk had to go to sleep to win the match. Punk and Darby would shake hands. On the same show, AEW would debut Ruby Soho, Daniel Bryan, and Adam Cole. This was the best pay-per-view for sure, and in my opinion, they were close with WWE. On September 8th on Dynamite, Punk would thank Darby. Then he would ask the fans who should be next. And then Taz would say, don't you ever mention Team Taz again, that weak-ass team. But Punk would call them out to end the promo. On September 15th, Taz would confront Punk and Hobbs would attack Punk, then put him through the table. On September 22nd at Dynamite Grand Slam, Punk would cut a promo. Punk would say that they tried to take him out like 50. I'm crying. But Punk would say that this is his once again, and then he would call out Hobbs. On September 24th at Rampage Grand Slam, Punk would have his first TV match in 7 years, and then he would go on to beat Hobbs. On October 7th on Dynamite, CM Punk would jump into the crowd. Punk is so tough. Punk would say how happy he is to being back and hopes people aren't getting tired of him yet. Punk would call out Daniel Garcia for Rampage to end the promo. Then Punk gave his shoes to Orange Cassidy's kid. What a great dude. And I already know what you guys are going to say in the comments about Punk and like, oh, how bad of a person he is. I don't care. Like, I can't hate on CM Punk. He's like literally one of my like heroes. Like, I can't hate on him. On Rampage, CM Punk would go on to beat Daniel Garcia. On October 15th on Rampage, Punk had a match and Punk would hit him with a go to sleep to win the match. On October 23rd, Bobby Fish would beat Anthony Creed. Fish would attack him after the match and Punk would come out to stop Fish. On October 27th, Punk had a match with Bobby Fish. Punk hit Fish with a GTS to stay undefeated. On November 3rd on Dynamite, Punk would say if anyone needs help, ask for it. And he's so true. If anyone really needs help, please tell someone. But Punk would call out Eddie Kingston at Full Gear to end the promo. On Rampage, Punk and Eddie would be face to face, and Eddie would go off, but they had a real beef. And Eddie said Punk judged him backstage, and if I'm being honest, Punk probably did. Punk said other people like Daniel Bryan called him out and held him to a level, and Punk called him a bum. Eddie said no one wants him there and to leave, and challenged him to a match at Full Gear. Punk would have one of his greatest comebacks ever.
Full Gear? A little bit high bar for you. I was thinking something like Elevation or Dark.
Damn! Yeah, he got him there, I'm not gonna lie. But Punk would accept and brawl to end the promo. On November 13th at Full Gear, They had a short match, but CM Punk won. On November 17th would start CM Punk's best feud in AEW history. MJF would come out and cut a promo, and Punk would come out. MJF would try to introduce himself and shake his hand, but Punk left him cold and walked away. The next week, MJF and Punk would go bar for bar, line for line, and it was genuinely amazing. MJF would call Punk PG Punk, but in my opinion, these are the two best people on the mic in at least the last 15 years. But honestly, go check this promo out, it's insane. But MJF would take everything off, but he would roll the ring to end the promo. Later that night, Punk would have a match against QT Marshall. And I just have to say right now, what y'all know about the double chocolate cookie? Alright, no, I'm done. Alright, my fault, that was a little sped moment. But Punk would hit him with a GTS to win the match. On December 2nd, Punk would win a match, but MJF was on commentary and say the only thing Punk is the best at is getting in Britt Baker's pants. God damn. Be honest, if this man walks in a bedroom, is he laying it down? But Punk said come down here, but MJF would start talking about Larry and how he's going to put him to sleep. Now, if you know anything about CM Punk, he doesn't play about Larry. Every time I think about Larry, I think about that old mud snail from SpongeBob. If you know, you know. But I'm genuinely convinced he loves Larry over AJ. I swear to God. Punk would chase MJF, but Wardlow would come out and save him. The next week in MJF's hometown, Punk came out to MJF's theme, and not gonna lie, the fans weren't having it at all. Punk would come out and start talking about hockey, then show a 4-pillar shirt with MJF crossed out. Punk would then talk about some hockey some more, then talk about MJF and the city. Punk said if that's your guy, then you're all chicken shit to end the promo. On December 30th, Punk would make his first Daily's Place appearance, but he said after watching Brody Lee's tribute show, he wanted to come to AEW. Punk called MJF a Twitter troll, but Punk would throw a shot at Tim Tebow. Just why? But Punk said it would be a shame if someone interfered with his quest for gold to end the promo. The next week, MJF would have a match with the local jobber down the street. Punk would come out and hit this jobber with a GTS. Punk would say this would happen until you face me. MJF would say Punk's nothing and saying that I might main event a Mania too. But MJF would say next week it will be CM Punk versus Wardlow to end the promo. The next week, Wardlow would be killing Punk. But MJF would be talking so much outside the ring for real. MJF would want some more punishment, but Punk would get the roll-up victory, and MJF was stunned. Punk would face Shawn Spears next, and he would hit him with a GTS to win the match right away. MJF would try to sneak up, but got caught lacking, not gonna lie. But Punk took his scarf, and MJF would run away. The next week in Cleveland, Punk came out and said that he wants MJF. MJF would come out and start dissing Cleveland. Not gonna lie, I was about to throw hands myself. But he would say he would face Punk next week in Chicago. MJF would say after he loses, Punk's gonna retire, and people are gonna see the real CM Punk. Then MJF would say this.
MJF, he would never leave us again. He loves us. I say the same thing about LeBron James.
Man, this pissed me off even more. But MJF would bring out his goons and they would attack Punk. Wardlow would hit Punk with a powerbomb, and MJF would sit on Punk to end the promo. The next week, we finally got the match that everyone wanted. MJF would cheat his way to victory, but the table fell down and the referee started the match. But why'd the ref look at him like that though? Wardlow would come out, but he let Punk take MJF back into the ring. Wardlow would distract the ref, and MJF would hit Punk with the ring to get the victory. The next week, MJF would be carried to the ring like a king, then make out with his chicks. What a man. Then this old geezer would jump around in a circle, and I don't know why. MJF would call himself better than the best in the world and said it's time to become world champion. Then Punk came out, but he brought out Sting and Darby Allin. Punk would thank Wardlow for beating him in Chicago, but MJF would say he would give him a rematch if he wins a tag match against FTR, but his partners couldn't be Sting or Darby Allin. In the main event, Punk's partner would be Jon Moxley, and MJF was going through it, but Punk hit a GTS to win and set up a rematch against MJF. The next week, Punk had a promo, and he chose the match and place against MJF, and it would happen at Revolution, and Punk chose a dog collar match, but he would call MJF out, MJF came out, and Punk would show the picture of them to end the promo. The next week, MJF would come out, and he would give an emotional promo. MJF would say kids threw quarters at him because he was Jewish. Not gonna lie, that's crazy. But that he idolized CM Punk and left when I needed you the most. But MJF made a promise to himself to be the best in the world in spite of CM Punk. Then Punk would come out and ask him if it was true, but MJF would walk away crying to end the promo. The next week, Punk had a promo, and he would ask if he was the bad guy. Then Punk would ask MJF to come out, and he did. MJF would hug Punk, but MJF would low blow Punk and make him bloody. MJF would say, "The greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he doesn't exist." On March 6th at Revolution, Punk and MJF would put on an amazing match. Wardlow would come out and turn face, and Punk would go on to beat MJF. But this was easily Punk's best feud in AEW, but let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. On March 23rd, Punk had a match with Max, and Punk would put him in the Anaconda Vice to win the match. The next week, Punk faced the Acclaim, but Punk also put him in the Anaconda Vice to win. After the match, Punk would call out Adam Cole or Adam Page for the AEW World title. On April 13th, Punk had a match against Penta. Not gonna lie, I forgot how crazy good this guy was. He always had some crazy spots. But Punk hit him with a go to sleep to win the match and climb the rankings. The next week, Punk had a match versus Dustin Rhodes, and Punk won off an ugly roll up, not gonna lie. But they would hug. Page would come out and be face to face with Punk. The next week, they would announce Punk vs Hangman at Double or Nothing. Punk would come out and cut a quick promo saying that he's a fan of Hangman, and he threw in a sneak diss at Eddie Kingston. Punk said he would fight till the wheels fall off. On May 11th, Punk had a match and hit a buckshot lariat to win. Hangman would come to the ring and they would just be face to face. But you can tell something is off. Just look at the way Punk is saying it's just business. I don't know, something must have happened. The next week, Hangman had a match and he hit a go to sleep to win. And then Punk and Hangman would just be face to face to end the show. Now, the next week, this promo made everything personal with Punk and started all the drama / the downward spiral. Hangman would go off on Punk saying that he's going to protect AEW from Punk and said some other crazy things.
"I don't hate you, and I have no respect for you. I love this place. I care about this place. Defending all elite wrestling, you."
Punk thinks Hangman went off script, and honestly, I don't know. But I don't think Hangman had to do all that. But Punk came back with the perfect response, and Hangman would punch Punk to end the promo. On May 20th, they had an amazing match, and I remember buying the pay-per-view. But Punk hit a go to sleep to win the title. Not gonna lie, I was so happy and I almost cried, I swear to God. But look at Punk's face. You could tell it really meant the world to him, and I remember seeing the Summer of Punk memes, and I was so excited. Until... God, the universe doesn't want us to have anything. But Punk had a match against the Acclaimed and hit a go to sleep to win. 2 days later on Rampage, Punk would come out with tears in his eyes and said that he had to relinquish the title due to his injury. Punk would say that he would come back, but has to get surgery. But on August 10th, after the Moxley and Jericho match, CM Punk returned to save Jon Moxley. Punk and Moxley would be face to face, but Moxley gave him a middle finger and left. But Punk would just hype up the crowd to end the show. On August 18th, Punk would come out and cut a promo, but the first thing he would do was call out Hangman, which he probably wasn't even there.
Somebody that's from around these parts, Hangman Adam Page. That's not cowboy shit, that's coward shit.
Yo, I just realized he called him out in his own hometown. That's wild. But yeah, this was not a good look. But he would go off on Moxley saying he's always been the third best guy. But at this point, you could tell Punk is looking for drama and he doesn't even care anymore. Moxley would come out and you could just tell nobody liked Punk at this point. But they would just brawl to end the segment. And even later in the show, they would brawl again. The next week in Cleveland, after Punk threatened to no-show the pay-per-view, Tony made Punk go out in Cleveland and defend the title against Moxley. And Punk would get injured and lose in 2 minutes. The next week, Punk would respond to a fan chanting Colt Cabana. But Punk said he feels like he let everyone down. Then Ace Steel came out and he hyped Punk up. Y'all need a homie or family like this? It's different. But Punk is so good on the mic. But he would go into the crowd and he would sign the contract to end the promo. And I just gotta say, someone held up their kid to Punk like he was Jesus Christ. No, that's the definition of wild. On September 4th at All Out, Punk and Moxley had a good match, but Punk would go on to win. After the match, MJF would return to reignite their feud. Well, until...
What did I ever do in this world, like Hangman Adam Page, to go out on national television jeopardizes the first $1 million house off of my back. If you have a fucking problem with me, take it up with me.
Man, the all-out media scrum. This literally killed his AEW career, and I'm a huge Punk fan, but this is 100% his fault. But he went off on everyone, the Young Bucks, Hangman, MJF, and Colt Cabana. But Tony looks scared, and honestly, I'd be too. But you could see Punk shaking his head, and he doesn't even care at this point. And if this couldn't get any worse, Punk and the Young Bucks and Hangman would get into a fight after this. On Wednesday, Tony stripped Punk of the AEW title and suspended him, and stripped the Young Bucks of the trio titles and also suspended them. On June 6, Tony would announce a new show on Saturdays named Collision, starting CM Punk. On June 11th, Punk would be back, but he would cut a promo saying he's tired of being nice, and he would take shots at the Young Bucks. I swear to God, Punk has a thing for naming randoms. You know what David Zaslav calls me? Like, who is that? But Punk would take shots at everyone and flex a red bag to end the promo. Later that night, Punk and FTR had a match versus Joe and the Bullet Club, which Punk won. The next week, there would be a 4-on-4 with Punk, FTR, and Ricky Starks versus the Bullet Club, which the Bullet Club would go on to win. On July 1st, Joe would beat Roderick Strong and attack him after the match, but Punk would come out and help Roderick. The next week, Punk would come out and cut a promo talking about their history and the Owen Hart tournament. Later that night, Joe and Punk would have their match, and Punk would go on to win with a roll-up to move on. On July 17th, Punk would face Ricky Starks in the finals, and Ricky would cheat to beat Punk to win the Owen Hart trophy. The next week, Ricky would come out and cut a promo, but Punk would come out and ask Ricky if he can handle the win with cheating. Punk would ask Ricky if he wants what's in the bag. Then the GOAT came out, Christian Cage, the man that will dish your dad. Hey, let us know if you want to see a Christian Cage video. But this would set up a tag match with Punk and Darby versus Christian and Ricky. In the match, Ricky would cheat again to pin Darby to get the win. The next week, Punk would cut a promo and reveal what was in the bag. It was the AEW World title, and he said no one beat me for it. Then, Punk put an X on the title, and it was clean, not gonna lie. Ricky would come out, and Ricky would demand the title shot. Then, the match would be official for next week, and Ricky Steamboat would be the special guest referee. The next week, Punk and Starks had their title match, and Ricky would try to cheat again, but Punk hit him with a roll-up to win. I don't know why, but Ricky would attack Ricky Steamboat after the match, but Punk would save him. On August 12th, CM FTR would face the House of Black. Samoa Joe would choke out Punk, but the House of Black would go on to win. On August 22nd, Joe would come out, but he would get attacked by someone in a gold suit. Damn, they tried to do the Kurt Angle stuff, but it was CM Punk to set up the title match at All In. On August 26th, there would be a 4-on-4 against Sting, Hook, Darby, and Punk versus Swerve, Christian, Jay White, and Luchasaurus, and the match would just end in a big brawl. At All In, Joe and Punk had an okay match, but Punk would go on to win. But little did we know this was his last match with the company. Punk and Jungle Boy got into an altercation due to a glass spot. But on Wednesday, Tony said he feared for his life, so he fired CM Punk. I hated it, but it was honestly the best move for both sides. But if it wasn't bad enough, it was in Chicago. And Tony would go out to the crowd before the show and give a speech. I don't know why he did this, but this took courage and huge balls. I was sad because I didn't think we were ever going to see CM Punk wrestle ever again. Wow, Triple H actually did what was best for business. These two hated each other, but they both put their grudges aside, and it actually looks like they're pretty close now. But me and Edge were watching this hyped, and CM Punk was officially home. But on April 1st, Punk did an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he exposed everything about AEW. Y'all should check it out. But he was saying how he didn't want to do the collision move, and he talked about everything else. But on the 10th, the Elite showed footage of the backstage incident at All In, and it stayed pretty true to what Punk said on the podcast. But I don't know why AEW did this. In my personal opinion, this was a bad move. But yeah, y'all, that's the video. But in my opinion, I enjoyed his AEW run a lot. I just wish they didn't do the collision move. Because I was talking about Ange. Why do they even have collision right now? Like, someone in the comments who watches collision, please let me know what they do on the weekly. But without a doubt, his best feud was MJF. Every promo was so electric and it was so interesting to see. But AEW let two of their biggest stars, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, go. And now they're screwed. Literally the last thing I saw about AEW is that they have the Rizzler. The Rizzler. Like, Tony, what are you cooking? But look, if we can get Christian Cage going out there dissing the Rizzler, it'll all be worth it. But let me know in the comments what y'all thought about Punk's AEW run. And you already know Brezza Productions are taking over this YouTube shit. And alright, y'all. Brezza Productions, out of ya.
I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit. I turned to Tony and I said, this place is a fucking joke, man. I quit.